Sir, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're having a great day. So in this video, we are going to close up the firewall, work on getting the tunnel around the transmission closed up, basically the entire front firewall of the truck. If you're new to the channel, do me a favor, consider subscribing. Lots of great content on the channel. Do not hesitate, comment down below. Hey, I like what I'm seeing. So, now that we've got all that YouTube-y stuff out of the way, let's roll into the video. So we kind of got a mess going on here. A lot to take in. Giant holes in the firewall. You know, side over here is all jacked up. Side over here is all jacked up. Chassis rails coming through the floor. There's a lot to take in. So in the last video, I was having some issues with the body mounts. They weren't aligned properly. Everything is basically set up. I could literally bolt the body down to the chassis with the fenders and the firewall, the core support. But the engine was sticking back a little too far. Now, when you install these on these style trucks, the S10s, there really isn't a lot of room up front. I opted to push the engine back towards the firewall, into the firewall. If he wants to do some electric fans, wants to do a cold air intake, anything of that nature. If you got to work on it, you want to have that space in the front of the engine. So for me, to recess the firewall back a little bit, it's not that big of a deal. I'm trying not to overcomplicate this. It's really not that hard of a process. You want to keep it simple. Simple is going to look good. Everything's going to jive with one another. And it's going to make sense. Here we go. I want to show you what I'm working on, how I'm doing it. I'm building a false floor, and you'll see more in the inside. I got this piece that I bent up, tacked up. I'm going to go ahead and cut along the edge here, clean it up, and then finish stitching it all the way up into here. All right, so we got a little nub. I used the cutoff disc. So now I'm going to hit it with the flap disc, smooth this out, and all this lip we're going to try to knock down and make it flush with the steel that's existing. Little fuel for thought. If y'all are going to build an S10, you really have to clean that metal because there's almost like a galvanized coating in it to prevent the body from rusting. Be real careful if you're welding to sheet metal on these S10s because you're going to get sick. Now you can kind of get a better picture on what's going on here. So we're going to use this piece of steel just as an example. The S10 floor kind of dips in this way. So we need to clear the frame rail. So what I'm doing is, I'm essentially, when I make the tunnel, I'm going to do this in one piece. So this way, when he goes and lays his carpet in here, he can actually lay the carpet nice inside of here. Has nothing to do with affecting the seat. The seat will still be able to bolt down. This whole entire cavity will get filled in. I might drill a couple of holes just in case if water gets inside of here. But now it makes, a little more sense why I have this edge rolled, because when this piece gets done, this is all going to be one piece with the hole cut out for your transmission. But I could spot weld all through here. I could bead roll inside of here, make it nice and strong, and then I'm going to stitch it all across the floor right here, up in here like this, and close in all this cavity. Now you can get a better shot from the side. You see all this white fume right here that I'm just wiping off? That's all galvanized. So it was a little tricky for me to weld to it. You kind of got to just tough through it and deal with it. But just, again, be aware if y'all have to weld to an S10 floor, make sure you clean it as best as possible because you're going to be dealing with galvanizing. Not that you can't weld to it, but you get some wicked fumes that come along with it. So now I can take my flap disc, clean all this up. This can get seam sealed, and you would never know once this is all said and done that you know, the floor was cut into. So I made this panel. You can see the center. I've got a bend line to bend it up so I can stitch the tunnel to it. I created a bump out underneath here, which I'm going to cut off. I need to make a little bit larger for this corner right here, but like I said, all I'm doing is giving me a guide where this piece is so I can just drill some holes to spot weld that in. Same on the driver's side. A little better this way and this way. Floor's all cleaned up nice. Everything looks good. So we can pull this back out, drill some holes, and get the engine back in. Take some measurements. There's our bump in or bump out, whatever you want to call it. That's going to go around the back side of the engine. I want to double check that. Here's my center mark. It's a lot, man. It's a lot to take in. Thankfully, the engine's pretty easy to put in by yourself. Everything lines up really well. So I'm going to disconnect the crane, leaving the hardware attached. Not the tranny stick. There we go. Make sure that our bump in is going to work. So we probably don't have to go that far, but I think for you know, working on the truck purposes kind of thing, I think it would be ideal to have it kind of like that. But I think what I'm going to do is put the camera down, get some measurements from here to here, from there to there, from here to the center, and then draw this out on a sheet of steel, cut it out, and start forming it. You can see in here, you reach back down inside of here. Not that you're really going to, but the only thing you have to worry about is the oil pressure sensor, which is here, and your dipstick tube, which you're not going to use the OEM dipstick tube. You'll end up using something different, which will come outside of here like this. I think it's going to work out good. All right, let's see. We're going to go by the corner of the engine. Go 10 inches. Then we'll go, we can go 7. Yep, you guessed it. Time to pull the body back off again. Get the engine back out again. At least it's easy, thankfully. Not a big pain in the butt. Well, I went over to my secret stash, and unfortunately I do not have any 16 gauge, so I'm going to have to use 1/8 inch. I'm going to trace this out. And we're going to add on to this corner. This little piece that I have, this should be about 2 inches, and it is. Awesome. So I'm just going to square this line right here, right up to the weld. I'm going to square this so we know where to cut. Very cool. I'm sure you guys know that flat steel isn't very strong. put a mark. Then we're gonna go 1 inch off the top. Put a mark. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. A bead of sweat just rolled off my face onto the plate, onto my marker. Marker's done. Okay, let's try this again. Put a line and a line. Man, I am good. And now I'm going to put our little corners in it. I like it. I think it looks great. This is what we got. So this 1 inch edge is going to get bent to butt the other piece of the firewall to it, stitch it. Same on this side. And that's why we created a 1 inch border all the way around. So it's an inch here, and 1 inch here. So let me roll it. So before I roll this, I want you guys to see how bendable this is. Fairly bendable. All right. It took me all of 5 minutes to do this. And you see the difference? You don't get the noise. A little bit in the center, but there we go. Nice and nice. So now I need to find center on this. Tack this here. Well, like this. And roll it, tack it, roll it, tack it onto this. And then this gets tacked under the firewall. Now, all I'm doing is borrowing my vise. Since I don't have a sheet metal brake, and just getting the angle started. There we go. There we go. Almost messed it up. This is the driver's side, passenger side, and when you look in the tunnel, you'll see the bends. We gotta fix that. Somehow our wire speed got turned down. I don't know if you guys remember these when I made them. Comment down below. What vehicle was I building when I made these? First person who comments down below gets a heart on the wall. You tell me what vehicle I was working on when I made these. And there she is, starting to take shape. So what I'm going to do now is run a marker over this edge, cut this edge out, cut the tacks out, then I'll cut out the top of the excess material that's here, and weld it in. So what I'm trying to do is I'll make another piece. Hey now, I'll make another piece that butts up against this. It'll curve out, flatten the firewall out. Same thing here. We're going to be moving the booster up 2 inches, I want to say it was, somewhere around that general area. But, and then the same thing, just like that, curve. Let's see how it looks from the inside. Not that you're going to ever see it anyway, but it looks pretty good. Very cool. The dash is going to cover it, but I mean, who knows? Maybe you might see some of it from the dash, you know, the very bottom side. Piece by piece, this truck will start to finally come together. It's a lot of work. I'm soaked from sweat, head to toe. Thankfully, it got cooler because it's starting to rain right now. But it's not fun working in here. It really isn't. Man, I love it when a plan comes together. Boy, oh boy. I really love it when a plan comes together. That looks so nice. Oh, yes. Go around the backside, take a peek. Oh yeah, that looks so nice. Plenty of clearance all day. All day we've got clearance. Clarence definitely has clearance. Each day I try to get something accomplished to set myself up for the next day. So our bump out is set. Now I'm starting to work on the floor. We come around the other side. All these patterns that are in here, they're just purely for strength. Now you can see what I was talking about for spot welding to the piece that I had made. This will get rolled over. More than likely I'll probably trim this to drop down to close this gap right here. This will all get, you know, pushed down, stitched, stitched, pushed down, stitched, you know, all inside of here. I just kind of did something. I probably shouldn't even have done this and should have just squared it off, but whatever. More is better than none. And you're not going to see it anyway. It's going to get covered up by carpet, but this is a lot for me mentally. I know I could pull it off. It's just going to take some time, and I'll have to do the best I can with it. So here we go. All right, so here's where I kind of want to pause and show you all what I'm working on. I like how this is coming, how this is flowing. I'm going to match the other side the same way. We're moving the brake booster up and over. I want to say up maybe an inch and over maybe an inch, somewhere in that vicinity. I can't go up too high because the cowl portion for the water runs through here. So I decided to, you know, stay basically in this zone where my finger is. I'm going to have to make an adapter plate. This is out of a 59 Impala, this brake assembly. So this is how the old boosters mated, like this. Well, excuse me, this was a non-power boosting brake system for a 59 Impala. So the master bolted onto this through the firewall and everything, and then you got your little brake lever. So what I'm going to do is remove these studs, make an adapter plate to fit over this to convert it to this style bolt pattern, which is this. On a larger scale, I'm going to shorten it up a little bit. The holes are a wee bit too big. So the way that Chevrolet made this is they basically used like an 1/8 inch sheet of steel to reinforce it. You can see how it's basically reinforced. I'm going to step my game up, pardon me, a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add a 3/16 piece behind here, which will get welded to all of this. So that way this is nice and strong. And the beauty of all this too is that pedal assembly connects to the dashboard. You see those lower holes right here? This connects to the dashboard, and this is your steering column. So this goes right through, this connects to the dash, and then you have a plate that sandwiches the steering column along with a clamp here to house the steering column. So this is basically what I'm going to use. I have to shorten it up a little bit and do some work to it, but I like it. I really do. I just need to correct the lines. So today's going to be the last day of working on this firewall. For the sake of this video, obviously it's not going to be the last day. It's not going to be finished, but I want to have a corner finished. And I'm in the process of working on that corner right now. So I'm going to show you what I've got and where my mind is at. Keep in mind, I kind of got caught in my pants down. There's a lot of tools that I'm missing. So I'm trying to work with what I have, which is a whole lot of nothing. So take a look. I measured up a piece of 18 gauge, kind of rolled the edge of it, and locked it just into place with some vice grips. I'm going to trace this corner out right here, making this in a separate piece in and of itself, because this is going to end up getting rolled back inside of here, and that's really it. Normally, for something like this, you can get away with using a wheelbarrow tub, and you can cut it out. I'll put an image of that right up on the screen, but this is what I've got. And you can see on the inside, it's starting to take shape. So disregard this piece. This piece is going to get made from scratch. I'm going to cut this off right here and make a whole new piece for inside of here. Overall, I'm pretty pleased with how it's coming out. And there we have it. Simple panel, simple bead rolling. This pattern actually matches this pattern. So let's do this. I'm gonna try and hold this. So if you see the pattern inside of here, this is how this goes, and you see that, how they jive with one another. Pretty damn cool. I'm doing the best that I can with what I have. There's some big pieces of equipment that I really would love to purchase. Obviously, I don't have the money, for that right now, but baby steps. If I could do this with little to nothing, imagine if I had nice pieces of equipment, how much better everything's going to come out. So it just goes to show, man, when you are persistent, persistence pays. If you want something, if you have that vision in your head, go for it. And that's what we've done. All right, guys, there it is, man. The somewhat finished product. Everything's vice gripped in, kind of just chilling. I matched up the corner here. Came out really nice, man. I had to stitch the inside a little bit, which you ain't gonna see anyway. I'm very happy. All things considered, being my first time with what I have, I really like it. And like I said, that bead roll is going to match the inner fender. So when you look in there, it doesn't look like, just a piece of black metal or whatever color he decides to paint it. It's going to look really nice. Now you can see it all makes sense. Everything looks good. Everything jives with one another. The hardest thing for me is probably going to be sneaking a plate in the back here for the brake pedal assembly, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. That's why I'm dealing with it all with vice grips and screws right now. We're gonna pull the plug on this, man. I know you heard it 101 times. Today's gonna make 102. This heat is stupid. I have to get air conditioning in this garage. No ifs, ands, or buts. No two ways around it. I have to. Well, that's going to do it for the video, guys. I appreciate your time. Comment down below. You like what you're seeing. You don't like what you're seeing. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe for all that good stuff. And we will catch you on the next one. Thank you and have a great day.